What is going on, you guys? I'm coming to you today with an Armada build for an Imperial multiple small ship unit, or multiple small units, or MSU, whatever you want to call it, fleet that is different than my typical all Architans conga lines. So the inspiration from this came from Reddit today. There was a lot of talk that I was involved in back and forth talking about how hard it is for Imperials to make an MSU list. And I said, well, how come there, and so out of the lists that were suggested, I didn't really see Architans on there. And, it seems to me one of the main problems is that there are very few Architans available for purchase right now. So that is definitely a limiting factor. No doubt about that. However, I think it would be a crime not to include Architans in an MSU list for the Empire because they are just so good. So one of the things I love to do is just run 5 Architans or so, all with enhanced armament and all kinds of craziness, but it's unrealistic to suggest that. So instead, I'm going to break it down to only 2 Architans. I will put Vader on one because I love Vader. I think he's great for an MSU list. I think he's great for just about any list. and he also allows you to do a lot to save some other points on other ships as well. Now, if we're doing an Imperial small ship unit, I think we got to have a Demolisher. I think there's just no excuse for not having a Demolisher. We can afford it. It's no problem, right? Now, since we have Vader, though, we don't have to put Ordnance Experts on here. We don't have to put that at all. So we can save some points from that in that regard. So instead, what I'll do is I'll go up. A lot of times people run advanced assault protons. But we can go ahead and upgrade this to assault concussion missiles, and we can stop right there to save a little bit of points. We went a little expensive with assault concussions over assault protons, but I think we're gonna have enough activations that this guy can go last, and that will end up being more damage anyway. So that's kind of the hope there, is that these other ships will go first and soften up the hull. Depending on how many ships you really want to run, or if you're willing to risk running without squadrons, one of the things you can consider is having your Architans run like an intel officer in a turbolaser reroute circuits. This is if you're not running Vader. If you're going to go with somebody cheaper, you can make up, if I want to go with Mahdi, for example, to help keep my ships alive just a little bit more, then I would consider doing something like this on a couple of Architans. But Vader I don't necessarily need that quite as much with Vader. I get the rerolls and get accuracies if I need to, or just cause people to spend defense tokens. So we have that Gladiator. I do also want something else that's going to synergize with Assault Concussions, and that's going to be a Raider 2. Raider 2 is just so nice right now. I'm going to give it Gunnery Team and Disposable Capacitors. That's going to let me trigger Disposable Capacitors and be able to roll my 3 blue at multiple targets. And the beauty of all of that is that we can trigger some blue crits on everybody. And if I go with heavy ions, I'm only going to be able to put those on one person because I'll have to exhaust them. But it's still good. It's still great having. Now, this is not optimally efficient because I'm going to have 2 shots. Only one of them I can trigger heavy ion emplacements. I'm okay with that lack of efficiency, simply because of the fact that I might miss the first shot. Even with Vader rerolls, you're not guaranteed to get that crit. I would need Screed in order to guarantee that crit. And again, Screed could possibly work on a list like this. If maybe you're not using Architans and you're just going to go for maybe Gladiators and Raiders, then Screed might be a better bet for you. However, I would rather do this combo because I drain the shields and then I put extra damage through. Ideally, I want this guy to go first, drain those shields, then the Architans go, drain the defense tokens, hopefully redirect will be gone. Then the Gladiator comes by, triggers that crit, gets an extra 2 damage on the sides. If there was any shields left, they're gone. We're going to have a lot more damage. There's not going to be hardly anything left of this ship at that point. Additionally, we're going to want more. So we're only at 284 here. I'm going to have a couple of squadrons. We're not going to go super crazy with squadrons, but I'm going to put a Gazanti in to activate some squadrons. And after I do that, I'm going to put another Gazanti in to activate some more squadrons. So, just in case we need to. Plus, it's also, these guys are kind of access, or rather extra activation padding. I'm not going to lie, that's what they're there. They're a little bit cheese, but it's okay. That gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 activations. It's pretty nice. Even if you go up against like a big ship list with Strategic Advisor, it's not going to buy them that much time. Now, these guys, I'm going to give them each comms net, just to give them some early utility. It's nothing wrong with passing out some extra tokens, and it's always going to be helpful. But we are going to add some squadrons. So let's go ahead and toss on some squadrons at this point. We are going to go with, my favorite, Valen Rudar. So we're at 334 right now. Now, one of the things I could do, before I put Valen Rudar on there, I want to show you how many TIE fighters we could fit. Because if we wanted to really make ourselves really safe, we could go with 8 TIE fighters. Now, this would work for a number of reasons. First thing we could do, first round, have the Gazanti, have everybody take a squadron token, pass a squadron token. All right, no problem. Something like that. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We could potentially, do 10. Or these guys, maybe they don't have to take squadron tokens first turn, and they'll pass maybe, a nav or something to the Architans or something like that. So we have some options in that regard. So 8 TIE fighters is really not half bad. In fact, you could do something like that if you were going to run Sloane instead of Architans or instead of Vader. But not running regular TIE fighters. I want to have Valen Rudar in here because I'm looking for some real nasty squadron killing power. Because one of the threats that you're going to face here is if you do face a whole bunch of like B-wings and things like that. So I want ships that are hard to kill. Valen Rudar is really hard to kill because of his ability. And so one of the things I love to do is run him with lambdas. Now, I haven't done this in a while because the lambdas are kind of less useful because of relay. They'll still be helpful in this case because relay will still give us a little bit of space. However, one of the things I really like about the lambdas is they're 2 black against squadrons that they roll. Because that's actually pretty decent considering what they do. But the other thing is strategic, and we're going to pick some objectives that will actually help with strategic. And objectives are going to be a real fun part of this one. So we're going to put 2 lambdas in there. So we have actually some really good control of the board as it applies to objective tokens. And for our last squadron, we're going to put in a kind of our heavy hitter. Our heavier hitter here is that in the VT-49 Decimator. Now, the Decimator does have rogues, so even though I only have 4 squadrons and I can potentially activate them both with the Gazantis, I don't have to. Like, if I want this Gazanti, maybe one of these Gazantis on one of these turns to just do an engineering and pass it, or do a nav and pass it, that's no problem. Because I don't necessarily have to activate everybody. I probably do want to activate at least like a Lambda, move that in, and then have Valen Rudar move in. He'll be able to get past Shara Bay's counter. He'll be able to get past a lot of that stuff. And even if I lose the shuttles, Valen Rudar still gives this VT-49 effectively escort, right? He gives all of these guys escort, but he gives that VT, because you're tied up with Valen Rudar, but you can't shoot him, so you have to shoot the VT-49 who has counter, And I would love to, I would love to have more points and just run like 3, or 5 decimators and 1 Valen Rudar, so that you'd have to be shooting decimators. You'd have to keep getting countered. There'd just be a lot of craziness, and I would really enjoy that. But I don't have the points for that. So we're at 399. That's where we stand. Again, you could shave some points off of this here and there. Like you could drop assault concussions down to protons. I just like the synergy between assault concussions and heavy ion emplacements. That's really, really working well together. So I love that. And between these 4 squadrons, I mean, this does get you two deployment spots, which is not bad. And you have a lot of really good anti-squadron potential here. You look at all these you're rolling black dice, all black dice against other squadrons. Now, your aces are going to be able to evade a lot of that. So you're going to, if you do see, that Shara Bay or something like that, you'll want to make sure that you concentrate fire on that Shara Bay and force that scatter. And maybe even combine that with some Gazanti's flak, because the Gazanti's flak, as those black dice are gonna or are going to do some consistent damage. And against like a little A-wing or somebody without that much hull and it has a scatter, you'll want to make sure you try and get that scatter spent as quickly as possible. But that will be one of your main weaknesses. So in the case of that, these guys are really there just to slow down the enemy squadrons. They're going to have a hard time trying to kill Valen Rudar because they're going to have to go after those Lambdas and that Decimator first. You're going to take counter. If the Lambdas go down, the Decimator is going to live a little bit longer. Let's look at objectives. So assault, this should be no question here. Definitely opening salvo. I've got 6 ships, all of which can shoot. Opening salvo is going to be huge for this one. Absolutely huge. Everybody gets to roll 2 extra dice. These Gozantes turn into monstrous machines of doom. So yes, the opponent's probably not going to choose opening salvo, and if they do, that's great. That's good news. Next up, I'm going to go with fire lanes. The reason I'm going with fire lanes is because I got 2 Lambdas that can keep pulling these tokens far back. I'm going to get so many points off of fire lanes that I can afford to just go nice and slow, make you come to me. I can have everybody going at speed 1. I can even slow some of these guys down to speed 0 if I really want to, depending on the speed capability and the current speed of my opponents. But yes, we can just go nice and slow, collect tokens. You can get so many points off of fire lanes. It's obscene. And, I love that one. This one may be what your opponent picks. For blue, we're going to go with Solar Corona because we have 2 flotillas that we really don't want. We want to get rid of that accuracy. And, being able to... One of the things I think that's just really important is being able to line up some of the shots. So if your opponent does set up everything first, you're going to be able to line up that Raider to hopefully have 2 shots with Gunnery Team. You're going to be able to line up that Demolisher. You're going to be able to space everybody out so where you're getting all the shots right where you want them to be. Because you can do a lot of damage with this build on an Alpha Strike if you position it well enough. And ideally... Maybe you want, if you go up against somebody whose squadrons aren't in the right position, then maybe you'll want to have the Gazantes go first and launch Valen Rudor, or maybe even launch the Decimator early, and you maybe not wait for Rogue. Maybe use a squadron command on the Decimator just to get it up there, get 3 dice on the front of maybe that Simoon or that Kuat ISD that's coming in. Get a bunch of damage, cause them to have to spend a redirect or a brace kind of early. You won't get a whole lot of damage off of Valen Rudor and the Lambdas, but it's still worth dice rolled or is this potential. Maybe the other Gazanti has a concentrate fire if you timed it right. Possibility. So that's that. You're getting dice that way. Next up, you want the Raider to go, or maybe the Raider first. You want to be able to get that crit, and again, Vader's going to help you have a much better chance of getting those crits. You're going to trigger disposable capacitors, do that at long range. Hopefully you're going slow so the Raider doesn't move in and get completely obliterated next turn. You want to try and get at least 2 turns of shooting out of that Raider. You could get more. It all depends on how much you do. But after both Gazantes and the Raider have gone, hopefully you'll have at least like maybe 4 or 5 shields gone off of your target, assuming it's a Star Destroyer. The front shields should hopefully be gone by this point. Those Architons are going to start going. You're probably, hopefully you'll have Concentrate Fire, so you're going to roll, at least 4 red, maybe 5 red if you get that front arc also. And you're looking to get hopefully you'll have, maybe at least 5 to 7 damage on the Star Destroyer by that point, and that's when your Gladiator comes in, gets those rerolls with Vader, gets all that, maybe 8 damage, triggers assault concussions, 10 damage. If that brace is still there, by the time your last ship goes, then that means he wasn't spending it for all the other shots. So that's kind of the setup. You're hoping to be able to take down an ISD in 1 round of shooting. It's not necessarily the most likely thing, but that's kind of the hope. That's what you're going for. And since almost all of these ships can do what they need to do at long range, and even the Gazantes, yes, these ones can't shoot at long range, not the way they are right now, but they can launch those squadrons a little bit farther, so they can get some damage up to you at long range. Your Raider's going to get that long range damage. Those Architons are going to get that long range damage. You can hang back and be safe. If your opponent wants to go first next turn and come in and and try to get to you. They're going to have to be shooting you at long or medium range, and hopefully they'll be shooting you at long range, and you'll be able to survive that no problem. Then after they move in, you finish them up. They're not going to have much left if you've spaced everybody out right, and you can get all your shots on the same target. So that is this MSU list. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. We're going to show you the printout version right there. There it is, guys. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to enter to win that X-Wing 2.0 conversion kit giveaway. It is still going on right now, and all it takes to enter that is to become a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. It's as simple as that. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I do appreciate all the support, and I want to give a big thanks to all of you guys who are supporting me on Patreon. You guys are awesome, and I thank you so much for that. I want to thank everybody for watching, and have a great day.